Laciest artist, my name is Glorya. I'm a senior now at a specialized high school for the arts. Welcome to my Spotlight series. This podcast series aims to encourage my peers to pursue their desired fine or performing art beyond high school. We'll be covering writing, film, acting, instrumental music, dance, musical theater, vocal arts, and production design. Today's podcast will be focusing on careers within dance, and I'd like to welcome my guest, Wilson Vu.
Hi, I'm Wilson. It's nice to meet you guys all, and thank you so much for having me here today, Claudia.
Yeah, and thank you for taking the time to come out.
Of course, it's my pleasure.
Originally from Huntington Beach, California, Wilson Vu began his training in dance at the Huntington Beach Academy for the Performing Arts. In 2014, he received his BFA in dance and a BA in psychology at UC Santa Barbara, and he is now pursuing an MS in applied psychology at USC. He currently resides in Los Angeles as one of the founding staff members of the USC Glorya Kaufman School of Dance and their admissions team as the Student Services Coordinator. He handles programming and events, recruitment, professional development, career services, and student worker management, all while still actively choreographing and professionally dancing within Los Angeles and New York. During his career at university, Wilson has worked with renowned choreographers, companies, and artists. He's choreographed for many commercials and clothing brand companies. He is also currently the co-artistic director of Novus Dance Project. So why don't we start with describing your career now a little bit?
My career now, well, it's sort of really hard for me to describe my profession. How do I describe my profession? Okay, so I do a lot of arts administration, admission and recruitment in higher education, advising, dancing professionally, choreographing, directing a dance company, and going to graduate school. So I guess I would say I'm a professional in the arts field. It's very broad, but it saves me some time from listing everything every time someone asks me that question. So as for what I'm currently working on, I'm basically just working on arts administration and higher education for now at USC Kaufman.
And sounds like you're a very busy person. You do so many things. So, I mean, what is it like to balance all of that even now?
Time management is key. As a choreographer or professional dancer in the field, or just someone working in the arts in general, time management is very, very important. Knowing when to stack other assignments or tasks, or how to handle multiple jobs at the same time.
So, since you work at USC and within arts administration, I guess you have a lot of students that come in and out asking questions, or you might handle the admittance of students. So, I guess what are some attributes that you guys look for in your dance majors?
Well, at USC Kaufman, we look for dancers who know who they are as an artist and as an individual, or have somewhat of a strong understanding of that. Also, for those who have the hunger to challenge that, we look for risk takers, those who will constantly question what has already been done and to see how it can be changed. Our program encompasses the idea of creating the versatile dancer, not just in dance, but also in academics. A lot of our students are involved in other pursuits in addition to complement their dance training here at USC. We are cultivating the next generation of dancers who are simply just not dancers or choreographers, but also entrepreneurs, scholars, researchers, etc.
So it seems like at USC, you guys view not just a great dancer, but a great scholar as well. So obviously, we want to balance both the arts and academics. So how do students typically find a balance within all that?
All of our students are very highly talented, bright, and curious intellectual artists. A lot of our dancers are very great with time management. As I mentioned before, it's something that you kind of have to be good at in order to become a scholar or even an artist, balancing things. We do work with our dancers to help them through the process. We have, in my team, there are 3 academic advisors, and we would sit down with our students at the end of each semester to see where there's wiggle room for them to take academics versus their technique classes, or if they have room and the flexibility to pursue other academic interests or other professional endeavors.
I think that's too, just because out in the industry, it's going to require a lot of time management and maintaining responsibility within ourselves. So I think that's really great that you guys encourage that just to prepare them for the future.
Yes, yeah, it's part of my job that I love.
Mhm. So a lot of students right now, senior dancers that are almost graduating, they're really looking forward to choosing a university or college that is most suitable for them. And I guess they're most curious about how auditions are going to be. So at USC, what can they sort of expect during a dance audition?
So our audition process is a two-step process. Prospective students apply in the fall and would have to submit a video audition that contains two differing solo and an answer to a question. We then invite a handful of students back to a live on-campus audition that occurs in January. It depends on the program, but at ours, the students go through an entire day at USC, starting with classes in the morning with their fellow peers in ballet, contemporary, improv, and hip hop. Now, after the classes, they have about an hour lunch before their appointed solo time. So each of the student will have about 10 minutes with a faculty panel. And during this time, they will present their solo and to do an interview. I mean, it's a long, grueling day, but we try to make it as fun as possible for both of the parents and the students.
And do students typically need or require a specific experience in one particular style of dance or?
So not really. So at USC Kaufman, we don't really focus on any specific type of dance form. As the students' core training, the students take ballet, hip hop, and contemporary, but they also have the ability to take ballroom, Bollywood, tap, and jazz. So I mentioned before, we want our dancers to have as many tools as possible and to equip them in the arena of what is dance today. I mean, in order to get a job, a dancer nowadays, they need to have about every single dance shoe in their bag possible. So versatility and adaptability is very important. We're not looking for just ballerinas or just hip hop dancers. We are looking for more of dancers who know who they are as an individual and as an artist.
And as a dancer myself, I've been to USC. I've seen the School of Dance, and I know that the facilities are great and that there's a lot of rigorous training involved. So, as someone who's not seeing dance, who's not planning to pursue dance as a major, but I want to continue dance maybe as a minor, just on the side, what kind of things can those students do as well?
So at USC, we do have a minor in dance. You would have to get accepted into the university first in order to pursue that minor. And it's a very quick process. It's not as rigorous as the BFA application. All you have to do is sit down with my colleague who handles admission into the minor program. And it's about a 15-minute interview with her. And boom, you're done. You're a dance minor. But then in order to take dance classes at USC Kaufman, you don't even have to be a major or a minor. We have students from engineering, from bio, from pre-med, law, etc., just taking our dance classes.
That's really great. I think a lot of people, I mean, myself included, expected that USC Glorya Kaufman was more for those people who are more seriously pursuing dance. So I think it's great that you guys offer dance classes even to those who aren't planning to major or minor in dance. So yeah, that's really great.
Dance is very, very accessible here at USC.
Mhm. I guess what sort of internships maybe or opportunities do you guys offer there? Because I know that preparing for future industries, typically universities do offer more opportunities for students to break out, I guess.
We currently only have 4 classes. So we have a freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior class. So we don't really have an alumni base yet, or our senior class hasn't graduated yet. So our senior class actually graduated this upcoming May, which is very exciting. So we do have a career services office, and I am the staff lead of that office actually. So I handle a lot of the professional development, and that encompasses workshops, conferences, festivals, auditions. So we try to provide our dancers with as many tools as possible just to prepare them what is out in the field. So we upcoming in a few weeks, I'm hosting a panel, dance industry in Europe, and then we are
Exciting, actually. Oh
yeah
my gosh.
yeah.
Yeah.
I want to have my students to be well equipped and know how it is to dance in Europe, in New York, etc. We are very career conscious with our curriculum as well. So from your freshman to your senior year, you are taking classes that are preparing you for postgraduate life. The students are working on their resumes, their video reels, etc. So we are preparing them as soon as they start at USC Kaufman as a freshman.
And you've mentioned, and in your biography, that you are one of the founding members of the School of Dance, which is very exciting. So I kind of want to know what it was like to, I don't know, be there from the start and be there to see its structure flourish.
It was a very exciting but challenging process. I mean, we did it as a team. Vice Dean Jody Gates, Anne Aubert Santelli, she's the director of admission. And then our dean, Robert Cudietta, we were all a team in building this school from the very start. I kind of see it as like a startup company. It's just very exciting to start the program from the very beginning to help Dean Robert Cudietta and Vice Dean Jody Gates to basically build their vision. What can we do for the next generations of dancers? What else is needed in the field? And what has not been done yet? And also what has been done and how can we challenge that?
Yeah, I think students typically focus on dance so much as the performing aspect of it, but there's also so many other, gateways and segues into different jobs that they can look to. And I mean, starting like founding one of those schools and structures is so exciting, and I think that students should also consider that side of dance as well.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, with dance, there are so many opportunities with dance. I mean, I always have people asking me, why a dance degree? What would that get you? So my answer is always a dance degree, or basically a degree in arts in general will always better prepare you for any career you desire. Now, because dancers and artists in general are highly disciplined. I mean, we are the hardest working breed of people. We spend countless hours and years perfecting our craft, and we expect nothing less but perfection. I mean, artists are passionate and dedicated. We are creative thinkers. We strive to make an impact. We work hard. Now, what kind of employer wouldn't want their employees to have those qualities? I mean, some people expect to become professional dancers or choreographers with a dance degree, as you mentioned previously. But what about arts administration? What about dance science, dance photography, dance journalism? Having a degree in the arts will open countless doors, as I'm sure having any other degree in the arts will do the same.
You mentioned the word perfect in there and how that it's hard to be perfect. And I think a lot of our dancers are striving so much for that image. So I'm a dancer myself, and my dance director actually put up a sign on our door that says, perfection is not like ideal here and that we're not aiming for that. I think it's really great that you acknowledge that it's hard to strive for that, and it's not about being perfect. It's about doing your best. And I think that's great to, yeah, just expand on everybody who's hoping to get into dance, that it's all about working hard and just looking for different opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, perfect is a very tricky word. Striving for perfection, if you are already perfect, then what else do you have to work towards? Like, you have nothing else to work for if you're already perfect. So that's a really tricky word sometimes.
Yeah. So I'm going to be moving more into your personal experience now and like your past. So you've been doing dance for a long time. You've been doing it at a younger age. So you had that support system sort of built on earlier in your life, right?
Yes.
So I think a lot of our students now are sort of thinking, getting finding a career in the arts in the future is sort of risky, and it has that stigma of not panning out well usually. So I guess what can you say for those students who want to pursue this career but may not have the support system to boost that for them?
Um, I mean, I was very lucky growing up to have a very robust community of friends, family, and colleagues that support my professional career. I guess my advice to those who do not have that opportunity to keep falling until you fall onto something. I know that is kind of vague and kind of broad, but it goes back to the idea of trying to work hard to succeed into something that you have always dreamt of becoming, of being the individual or the artist that you want to be. I mean, dreaming could never hurt anyone whatsoever, but the process and the steps in order to take that and to achieve that dream, it's difficult. I mean, it's difficult for everyone, even still in the professional realm, or those who are just starting out as dancers or choreographers. It's grit. It all comes back to grit.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, yeah, grit is a really great word to use for that. And yeah, I mean, even if people don't plan on pursuing that art beyond, I mean, it doesn't hurt to still work on your craft or excel in it, just because you never know what happens in the future. Because I think a lot of opportunities come randomly when you least expect it.
Yeah, and even if in the future you don't happen to have a career in the arts is always a part of your life. No matter what, you can still have side hustles, multiple jobs going on at the same time just to keep you happy, in supplement with your main job. Even though I'm in arts administration working with recruitment and admission, I still choreograph on the side and I still dance on the side. It's a part of my life and it's who I am. So I feel like it's harder for artists to give that up.
And yeah, you're still actively choreographing and doing all these projects, which is really exciting because I mean, you're just doing so much right now. I mean, you also travel, I'm assuming. So I guess how do you stay in that lifestyle and still be find work to do?
Um, well, I guess it kind of goes back from, when I was younger as a dancer. You're dancing every single day for countless hours. You're juggling with dancing while you're juggling with your schooling and your academics. So it's an innate thing that I've learned from a very, very young age. I'm doing my master's program right now while working full time, while dancing and choreographing on the side. It's kind of just a part of my life, and I don't really think too much about it. Really, it kind of just happens, and I kind of just do it because I've been doing it for that was like 5 basically. So it just comes naturally to me.
Yeah. And I think, I mean, it doesn't hurt to just start now because you get used to eventually the longer you spend time doing that and conditioning yourself to that sort of environment, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, as I mentioned before, like artists are hard workers. We are very, very hard working bunch of people. Uh, I mean, there is the risk of burning out, but the idea of burning out kind of sparks more creativity. When you're in a stump and then you kind of just like realizing why you are in the stump and then just looking at different ways to attack it. And then that within itself kind of sparks more motivation, more inspirations to go from.
And that, I mean, like that applies to much more than just dance, right? I mean, that applies to real life too, and developing, your own future and meeting different people and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think so. How I see it as artists, we think in colors. There are many different ways to go about certain things. Some people only think in black and white. As artists, we're trained to think in colors. There could be an answer to, 10 different questions or even 10 questions for one answer.
Yeah. Um, I don't know. I'm just so curious about the industry because I know it can be cutthroat and I know it can be super intimidating. So I guess what was it like for you starting out in the industry, and what sort of advice can you impart on our students?
Okay, well, I moved to New York right after I graduated from UC Santa Barbara. So at UC Santa Barbara, I received my BFA in dance as well as my BA in psychology. But right after Santa Barbara, I moved to New York to become a professional dancer, to be really in the field. However, I was dancing professionally when I was 18, still doing school, but that was my chance to take on the world without any, support from my college professors, without that safety net. It was scary, you know. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, spending your 4 years in college, you were expected to take classes every single day and to train. We had guidance and we're constantly told what we should do. Now, moving to New York and becoming a professional dancer, it was challenging in the aspect of having freedom. I was constantly asking myself, what's next? What should I be doing now? Is what I'm doing now correct? It was challenging transition because you have so much freedom and options that you didn't know which options should be the right one. But eventually, you find your way. It's not bad to have lots of options. You'd rather have many options than none at all. You know, so it's again, I mentioned it before. Like, keep falling until you fall into something. And when you fall into something, keep falling until something catches you.
And I think that also applies for auditioning for countless places and, looking at different colleges. I mean, everything has a risk factor in it, and we'll be uncomfortable and we'll be a little stressed out. But I think it's good to be comfortable with being uncomfortable, because I think that has a lot to do with dance in itself.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, like, in the arts and entertainment or the creative field, we have to audition for a lot of the projects. And it is a cutthroat industry, but also it is a very caring and constructive community. You are going to get rejected a lot. And that is just part of what it is to be a dancer, singer, etc. But you have to take it with stride that each time you are rejected, then it's just not meant to be. And you will find your niche. And take it as a learning experience. Every time you go to an audition, treat it like you are taking class. Yeah, you have to use it to pay rent and your bills, etc. But each time you are auditioning, it's each tool you are collecting for your tool belt.
And there's nothing wrong with rejection either. I mean, like, I wholeheartedly agree with you. I mean, rejection is just part of the process. There is rarely any success without rejection or failure. So I like the idea of you really enforcing that it's okay to fall. I mean, yeah, like, keep falling until you fall into something.
Yeah, and I mean, like, that whole idea of falling, I mean, dancers, like, we fall all the time. Just get back up, keep dancing. Just do your thing,
Yeah. I think there are so many universities and colleges out there that have dance programs, strong or maybe like not as strong, but we're always looking for different schools. So I guess in your experience, how did you sort of narrow it down to going to UC Santa Barbara at first?
Well, moving from my high school experience to narrow down a list of schools to choose from in college, it was kind of a scary process. It's a scary time for high school students transitioning into that part of their lives. Personally, I went into mine asking, where can I be that will help me become an artist and an individual that I want to be, that I've always dreamt of being? What school can feed my creative hunger? Now, you need to look at the resources the schools can provide you. Now, is it a conservatory? Is it a private research institute? Is it a liberal arts college? You need to ask yourself, what else do you want to do or become? I went to UC Santa Barbara, and it allowed me to not only pursue a BFA in dance, but it also opened other doors for me, such as psychology. I had the freedom to become whoever I wanted to be. Another important factor for students to look at is the location of the university. Location, in my opinion, is very important. The school may provide you with the training and the experience, but I think the city will provide you with the culture.
And you mentioned how you studied at UC Santa Barbara, so you were still in California, and then from there you decided to move to New York. I guess what sort of spurred that decision?
I guess all of my friends moved to New York. I think it was UC Santa Barbara was kind of a feeder school to New York. All of the students kind of just went to New York afterwards. We had a very strong network of choreographers and directors who we've been working with over in New York at UC Santa Barbara. So it kind of felt like it was a natural step for me to move into that direction. Um, and also, while I was there, I was doing a summer program on a full ride scholarship for dance education. And this program, I think, is very important for those who actually want to go into the education realm. It's called Dell, and it was founded by Jody Arnold. So when I moved there, I had the opportunity to learn what it's like to teach dance, pedagogy, techniques on how to communicate words and language, how to translate body movement into language. So it was a very exciting time, but it was a very scary time as well.
Yeah, that's so cool that you learned pedagogy and that translated into helping you choreograph and teach other students because at our school we also teach pedagogy, dance pedagogy, which is really exciting. We're going to be doing that our second semester, so I'm looking forward to seeing what experiencing what you've experienced and seeing what you saw, and hopefully translating that in the future.
Oh, that's so awesome. Not a lot of programs have that in their system, so I'm really, really excited for you to go through that.
Thank you. I'm excited too. I don't know. I think choreographing is such like a big thing. It's not just teaching kids, it's also, teaching yourself from moving around and always having a new set of people to work with who also impart their own style. I mean, I guess like since you started choreographing up until now, what was it sort of like taking in all the knowledge and the people around you?
It's a lot of information. You know, as a dancer and as a choreographer, you have to pay attention to all of your senses. For me personally, I kind of look at who I interact with, how are they interacting with me, um, who am I surrounded myself with, what am I surrounding myself with. Um, Honestly, each aspect of the environment can be an inspiration. You can be in the middle of nowhere and all you're surrounded by is haystacks. Now, that could be your motivation, and you can just create a dance of haystacks and it could be phenomenal. You know what? As a choreographer, you are not going to create great work all the time. So it's okay. So just keep on creating. Nothing is going to stop you but yourself.
For sure. And you mentioned moving to New York, you sort of had this circle of friends that went with you. And do you still keep in touch with them?
Yeah, I mean, as you grow older, come to realize the dance community is very, very small. It's super, super tiny. Um, so I still keep in contact with all of my friends. All these friends are friends for lifers in that sense. And also, when you're in the community, you meet someone, and that someone knows someone else that you may know, and there's all these connections, and then you become friends with them. It's a very small network, but it is a very supportive, friendly, loving community.
Yeah, I think that's really important for our dancers to know too, just because a lot of us think that once we're out of high school and going into college, we might, lose contact with such. And we may meet new people, but it's also important that you keep contact and stay in touch, if possible, with the people you've been working with and see potential in because you have the potential in yourself. Because networking is such a big tool for us. I feel like sometimes we don't get to use it because it's intimidating to meet new people, but it opens up so many more opportunities and so many new friendships as well.
Yeah, of course. And, there's, nothing wrong with just saying hi.
So I guess you were working in New York for a while and you decided to come back to LA. Was it because of, I guess, like different sort of opportunities here?
So yeah, New York and LA. So there has been some discussion in the dance community actually about how LA is so commercial and New York is so concert. But nowadays, Los Angeles is doing a lot of, strides towards the concert realm. Now we are seeing that Los Angeles is not just a hub for commercial dance. it's now a growing hub for concert dance, like Jacob Jonas. There's Los Angeles Ballet, Los Angeles Contemporary Dance Company, LA Dance Project, Body Traffic, 8-9. So that community is growing, and it's growing rapidly. So it's very exciting to see where it's going to be in the next 5 years, because this community basically kind of just grew very, very short in time. So now a lot of the New York dancers are actually moving to Los Angeles, and Los Angeles is actually becoming the next mecca of dance.
And I mean, since you've come here, like you've been doing a lot too. So I guess, what are you still working on in Los Angeles, and what sort of projects do you still, are just working on?
So currently, right now, since the school year has started, I haven't had much time to do a lot of freelancing project. My last project was a Uniqlo commercial, actually, with Solange Knowles. She was Beyonce's sister, so that was really cool for me to work on. And I guess my upcoming project, I'm just working on a full-length evening performance that's premiering in November with a fellow choreographer of mine, and along using with my company dancers from Nova's Dance Project. That's the only project I'm working on right now. I'm kind of just taking one project at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, and I invite all of you guys to check out USC's performance. USC Kaufman is performing end of the semester in November, so just keep a lookout for that, and we would love to host you guys.
Yeah. Well, I think that's all the questions I have. Is there anything else you'd like to say? Any last words?
No, not really, except for thank you so much for having me. Good luck with your last year. You're going to do great. And for all my artists, dancers, choreographers, just keep on dreaming, keep on running, and keep on falling.
Yeah. And thank you very much again for taking the time to be on this podcast. I think our dancers are going to learn so much from this, and I can't be more thankful. So yes, thank you very much, and have a great day.